But anyway, as I've just mentioned, today we just returned from Navy headquarters and we got to check out a bit about what's going on down there, and we got some info on the International Fleet Review. You've probably heard about this and seen the various road signs that have been advertising it, but what is the International Fleet Review, I hear you ask? Well, tonight we're very lucky enough to be joined by the man in charge of this extravaganza. His name is Captain Bramwell, and he joins me now on the phone. So, Captain Bramwell, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Goodnight Gladesville.
Good evening, Danny, and thanks very much. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Fantastic. All right, so and thanks for giving us your time tonight as well, because you must be the busiest man in Sydney at the moment with all this happening this week, this massive celebration. So the International Fleet Review, we've been hearing great things about what's going on and what's going to happen this week for this significant naval celebration. I've heard there's going to be more ships in the Battle of Trafalgar. It's going to be bigger than New Year's Eve. It's going to be more screaming girls than a One Direction concert. But since you're the man in charge of this whole affair, it's probably best to ask you, is this event going to be as big as everyone's saying it's going to be?
I think, Danny, the word spectacular is probably the most appropriate. That's one we're using a lot. I think if you think about 18 visiting warships from around the world, 19 Royal Australian Navy ships, 16 tall ships, so that's over 50 ships in the harbour, representing, as I said, 17 countries, in the order of 8,000 sailors in town, wow. And a huge schedule of events that really runs in Sydney from next Thursday right through till the following Friday. So we have a packed program. So, yes, it is going to be big.
Wow, it sounds fantastic. Can you tell us firstly a bit about the history of the event? I believe it's to commemorate, it's 100 years since the first few boats of the Australian Navy came through Sydney Heads, is that correct?
First few ships, Danny, yep. So what we're doing is commemorating the centenary since the first Royal Australian Navy fleet came into Sydney Harbour on the 4th of October 1913. That's when the newly minted battle cruiser HMAS Australia led the first 7 ships that the Royal Australian Navy owned, essentially, in through Sydney Harbour on a momentous day in 1913. And so because it was a significant event back then, we're making sure we commemorate it appropriately 100 years later. So we're going to be joined with, as I said before, nations from around the world to help us commemorate this significant day for the Royal Australian Navy and the City of Sydney.
Right, and how many boats were that first fleet that came through, did you say?
7.
7 boats?
7 ships, yes.
7 ships. And how many do we have now on the fleet?
We've got over 50 ships in the fleet now, so like Sydney's got bigger, the Navy's got bigger as well.
Okay, great. So there's obviously it's a big celebration this week for that, and as you said, we're joined by special guests and other boats from around the world. So there's a whole bunch of public events going on around the harbour. Can you tell us a bit about what those events are?
Sure, the key ones really, we've got the tall ships coming in. They'll come through the heads at 11 o'clock on Thursday, the 3rd of October. Mm-hmm. And then the following day we have the commemorative day when over 20 warships, or closer to 30 ships, will come into the harbour on Friday the 4th. That'll take all day basically to get all those ships into harbour, with the main event happening at 10 o'clock in the morning when we're sort of recreating those 7 ships, where we'll have 7 Royal Australian ships that will come through the heads and round Bradley's Head, and conduct a 21-gun salute for the Governor-General. It'll be at Bradley's Head, and then proceed down the harbour to their berths. And then the next day is the big day, if you like, the big review day, when the Governor-General, and assisted by Prince Harry, will review the fleet in Sydney Harbour, and that'll start from 11 o'clock in the morning and go through till about 2 in the afternoon. And then that night we have probably the biggest pyrotechnics and light show or fireworks show that Sydney's ever seen, starting at 7:40 that night. And we'll have fireworks and imagery projections onto both sides of the Opera House, the bridge pylons, and also the roof of the Australian National Maritime Museum down Darling Harbour.
Wow.
And then, because it's a long weekend, we obviously have the grand final next day, but we also have open days at Garden Island for Sunday afternoon and all day Monday at Garden Island and Barangaroo. We're going to have some ships berthed down at Barangaroo, and people can get tickets for that from Ticketek. We wanted to do a time ticketing arrangement so we can anticipate how many people to expect. Mm-hmm. And then the following week we have some marches through Mosman and Parramatta, and also the big combined Navies parade on the Wednesday, the 9th, when we'll have about 4,000 personnel on parade marching up George Street from the Rocks up to Town Hall, and there the Governor-General will once again take the salute from the visiting parade.
Wow, so it's going to be a massive week by the sounds of it. So you're saying that the fireworks and the lights, I guess it's a bit of a combination of Vivid and New Year's Eve, but the fireworks are going to be even bigger than New Year's Eve. Is that what we're hearing? Yeah,
that's right. That's our intention. So what we're doing is it's a show which is basically built around 7 scenes, telling the history of the Royal Australian Navy since 1913 and beyond. So we're heavily reliant on the imagery on the Opera House, It's also going to be televised on ABC One and ABC 24 live.
Wow.
And then that imagery will also be supplemented by fireworks that are being fired off 6 barges. So just like New Year's Eve, we've got 6 barges, 3 west of the bridge and 3 east of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick we have up our sleeve is we're also firing fireworks off 7 Royal Australian Navy warships as well. So
you've got that extra dimension.
that extra little bit of advantage. There'll also be military aircraft participating just before the fireworks show, and it goes for 30 minutes. So it's really a 30-minute show, which, as I said, tells the history of the Royal Australian Navy. It really is going to be spectacular. That
sounds really good. And the other thing you said, people can tour some of the ships, but you have to buy tickets, don't you? And that's down at Barangaroo, but you can get tickets to do that, can't you?
No, the tickets are available on Ticketek, on the Ticketek website. And it's really important that people pre-arrange their tickets.
Yep.
But the open days will have ships open both at Garden Island and at Barangaroo. So people can choose whether they want to visit the ships at Barangaroo or at Garden Island on either Sunday afternoon or all day Monday.
Okay. So on a bit of a different question. So with all these warships in Sydney Harbour, is Sydney going to be like the safest city in the world to be in at this week?
Well, it'll certainly be the busiest.
The most well-defended city in the world, I think, by the sounds of it.
Yes, I think it will be centre stage, and it will certainly be one of the busiest and most spectacular cities. And I think we're fortunate with such a fantastic harbour to be able to put on such a demonstration as we're going to.
Absolutely. And how many naval personnel are going to be coming into the city as well during the week?
About 8,000.
Wow. Okay.
Between both the visiting sailors from around the world and also our own Navy. We're bringing sailors and ships from all around the country, so it's not just ships that are based in Sydney that are being involved. About a third of the fleet that are coming from our own Navy are based either in Western Australia or Darwin or Cairns, so we're bringing ships from all over the country.
Okay, so 8,000 sailors. So should fathers be locking up their daughters, or is that sort of thing not going anymore? Things have changed.
All these ships are multi-crewed.
Right,
so
okay.
They have men and women.
Lock your sons up as well, then, is what you're saying. Definitely. Or maybe it's just Prince Harry we should be looking at. So Prince Harry's coming out too. So he's going to be part of the review, is that right, with the Governor-General? That's
right. So he'll be on board HMAS Lewin. The Governor-General will still be taking the salute, but Prince Harry will be there as an official guest of the Commonwealth, and we're very, very honoured to have Prince Harry here to help us celebrate this event.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic weekend. Sydney is certainly the place to be this week. So if people want to get along and if they want to be involved with the festivities, and basically if you want to get some more information, can you go to a website, or is there a place to get some more info?
Absolutely. We have our own website, which is www.navy.gov.au/IFR. Well, we also have our own app. We're very pleased with the app we've produced, which is both for Android or iPhone, and that's just IFR 2013. That's a free download, and that has all the information and vantage maps and information on the ships and the programs, and everything's available on that app. Okay, so get on your phone or on the internet, and you can find out all about it. And if you're in Sydney, get along to all the events happening from Thursdays when it really starts, isn't it? That's right, Danny. Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, congratulations on organising all of this. It must have been a mammoth job, and we all look forward to getting involved later in the week. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Captain Bramwell.
My pleasure, Danny. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.